when we talk about diversity, about multiculturalism, we're making an error. What we want is a diversity of origin. We, of course, want, if you look at Canadians, look at a big group photo of Canadians, everybody having different appearance, black, white, Asian, Indian, no matter what. But we do not want what Joe Clark wanted. I mean, he's a nice man, I know Joe Clark, I think he meant well. When he said Canada is a community of communities, I shuddered. I don't want the community of communities. I didn't want, when I was a boy, I immediately reacted, I didn't want the Jewish community. I don't want any other either. And I will tell you what you can have instead of it. You can have the absolute ecstasy of not belonging, of being at home in every group, but not quite. If our society is going to move forward towards a more equal future together, then we should do it through what I call romantic individualism. There is freedom in all matters except the economic. Freedom, what you have to control, regulate, divide equally is economic, but for the rest, there should be freedom. Freedom to wear what you want, to do what you want, to say what you want. There shouldn't be any consequences whatsoever for saying something that's not popular, for defending Claude Jutras in Quebec today, for thinking that Wagner was a great, fantastic composer and that it doesn't matter that he was an anti-Semite, that for saying all of those things that are not politically correct. The left has contributed to the rise of the Trumps through this collectivism and so on. Now, there is one other side to it, education. How are we going to get past this world? I think we have lost the sense of our classical education. And again, the left is partly to blame for that. What happened in our education is that we democratized it. And to democratize it, we brought it to the lowest common denominator. We had to bring people into the schools. We couldn't maintain the old collège classique and do all of those things. So that people no longer were taught cultures. Why somebody like Trump can win is the utter lack of culture around us. The fact that people don't see a vulgar, uneducated man strutting across the stage because they haven't read, they haven't thought. I think we have to go back to a more classical, a more traditional Western education. When I say Western, I don't for a minute wish to disparage anybody else, but I do think that we have to become a little more elitist in terms of classical music, traditional film. I think every high school should spend Friday afternoons showing the great films, Citizen Kane, Les Enfants du Paradis, the Battleship Potemkin. We should be bringing up people to have the traditional Western culture, but not elites, everybody. Western and, to some extent, other cultures for everybody. And that way, we will be safe for the values, the aesthetic values, the moral values of our society will be better served by that sort of education. Now, one more thing that I want to say about our society that strikes me as horrifying, but maybe it was always the case, maybe I'm just deluding myself, is its cruelty. You notice that everybody cheers when somebody gets convicted. Everybody's on the side of the prosecution. Everybody's against the professional being charged professionally, wants them convicted, taught a lesson, throw out, I'm tough, says everybody. Of course, until the person who's arrested is their son. Everybody is, there is a harshness to our society. That too is caused by the inequality. It's that people are competing with each other. And if you can destroy somebody, you've got one rival less. But it's wrong. And we once again have to think, maybe strange coming from a leftist, but about traditional moral values. And I don't mean Puritanism, I've already told you I don't buy that one. But moral values about goodness and kindness and forgiveness. Our society doesn't forgive. If you say something, it follows you forever. You do something, it follows you forever. And one of the dreadful things is if you get convicted of something, the slightest thing follows you forever. You join an underclass of people who never have equal rights. I think we have to come back to ideas about forgiveness and justice. Where do those ideas come from? Of course, they come from our traditional humanism, which comes from Christianity. I'm far from advocating a return to religious Christianity, but I think the basis of our morals structure, forgiveness, redemption, acceptance, have to be brought back in this new humanist society, in this romantic individualism, where we distribute the goods, but we leave everybody free. We have to remember that everybody can be redeemed, that nothing is forever, and that we have to be fair to all of the people, even those who haven't done anything. There's one more thing that I think we have to have: a healthy anti-majoritarianism. In An Enemy of the People, Ibsen said, the majority is always wrong. He might have gone a little far in saying the majority is always wrong, but let's paraphrase. The majority is often right, and often wrong. And we should not assume that because the majority is saying something, it is either right or wrong. But we should be infinitely tolerant. I believe in practically unlimited free speech. There may be some things, things where there's a direct damage caused. We can't publish the plans for a top secret submarine on the front page of La Presse. But short of that type of thing, anything can be said. And so if somebody wants to say something which is inconsistent with the theory of equality of men and women, gay rights, and so on, let them say it. We will be better off having it in the open and having the debate. Therefore, I'm looking for a new wave that is going to bring this about, and I hope I'm now 69. But I have hope that I might live another 30 years. My parents are alive. I hope, therefore, that in the 30 years that might be left to me, I will see that new wave of social democratic, individual, and free